Eat Fruit Media is a mission-based organization built on helping individuals address personal situations while fostering unity and improvement.
So we've had these solar flares these last couple days, and I'm moving around here a little bit, trying to find good lighting in here.
I know how it goes.
I'm just moving around, guys. Getting ready for the Gerald talk tonight. Super excited about it. And, you know, look, last Thursday night, we did this talk with Gerald, and we had this talk, and at 9:07, we have this massive solar flare. When I say massive, they get bigger, but this was a really big one. It's the biggest one we've had in 7 months.
It spiked at that time, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And
we felt it. We felt it in the meeting.
We felt it in the meeting. And, you know, Gerald he's like Mr. Stoic. You know, I text him. I'm like, hey, this happened, that happened. You know, and I give him the time, and he no response. but then all of a sudden he'll call me back about something else and be super pumped up. He's just pumped about the right thing. He's a different kind of guy, and I like it. Keeps me off rhythm, but it's almost like he's not surprised.
No, he definitely puts energy in what he can control.
Yep. He's not surprised. So I know, like, I want to do a talk, you know, about solar flares. And so far, Tom, like, you're kind of really new to the whole solar flare thing, aren't you?
From a spiritual perspective, yes. Yes. From a scientific perspective, I know a little bit more. But so, you know, I've never really paid any attention to how it affects individuals, but I knew how it affected broadcasting and technology and that sort of thing. But
oh yeah.
But I'll tell you what, in the last 16 hours, I have experienced the other side of that now. So at work last night, it hit me pretty good.
This is why we're going to do this. We're going to talk because right now there's so many people that are feeling it. This is how solar flares work. They pull on wherever you're going already.
Mm-hmm. And
the best way to filter it is there's no good or bad way for it to hit you. It just is. Whatever it's exposing is just there. And it's our job to then deal with it. You know, it's almost like, you know, it's like, you know, just kind of like stirring something until something comes up to the top.
Yep.
Let me ask you a couple questions.
There you go. Okay. You kind of froze up there for a second.
Oh, I did?
Yep.
Okay.
It's all right. It's all right. You're good.
So let me ask you, Tom, are you feeling fatigue?
Yes. I not as bad as I was when it hit me, but yes, I'm still.
Are you feeling bursts of energy?
Here and there. Yep, I'll probably be hitting one in about a half hour or so.
And how about emotions?
Oh, definitely. That was part of between the fatigue and the emotional side of what let's just say I saw some things I wasn't expecting to see during the whole episode. And yeah, definitely it sparked.
And this is what I really want people to grab with this, that these solar flares are real.
Mm-hmm.
And they do more than people think. And last year, when I started eating a lot of fruit, I started going through this time where my ear, here, I like this lighting, my ear started ringing really, really bad. I mean, loud. I wouldn't say bad. I mean, and it started like with this dull, and then it got higher and higher to the point where, like, it was almost like something was like screaming at me, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I started how I even started realizing what solar flares were was my ears are screaming. I'm feeling all this like emotions. I could just tell spiritually. I could tell emotionally, energetically. I was just learning about Nikola Tesla. I was understanding that there's more to this energy than I'd ever heard before. And then what happened was these northern lights hit. And I'm like, oh, cool, northern lights. I'm already seeing I'm already seeing more bright lights because spiritually, just, you go through awakening, you start seeing lights a little bit different. And I'm like all excited about these northern lights. Then I started researching what northern lights actually come from. And they come from these solar flares.
Correct.
It's a magnetic, band around the earth, and
Yep.
and this field. And then just like all of a sudden I started researching what solar flares are. And then you can go on NASA, you can go on all kinds of like government pages. It's not hidden. It's out there. Now they're really cautious about how much they make in claims. So you gotta be careful how much claims you make. But they will tell you that it does deal with emotions, that women actually during solar flare, their heart attacks, there's a lot higher rate of women heart attacks. This is right on NASA website.
Interesting.
There's a clear, now, do they really want us to know this? No, because it dips into I believe the medical field and the money and the pharmaceuticals. And because what happens is during these solar flares, and this is what I started to research during these solar flares, we're made from, this is scientific fact, we are made from stardust. Did you know that, Tom?
I did, actually, yes. If just about everything on this planet is laced with it.
Exactly. Now, I'm not the guy that's going to break down all the scientific stuff, right? But I can give you the broader field of this, and you can go verify this all you want if you want to dig into this.
That's it's common scientific fact. It's not, it's as true as they can make it. It's not one of those things that you've got different factions here and there that are insisting on it for validation. It is true. It's falling on us as we speak.
Exactly. When these solar flares hit, what they're doing, and you can go into almost any prophecy. I was just reading the Bible this morning. I mean, there's time after time where it's talking about flares, sun, shooting sun, God's hand being shooting sun. And what happens is it's pushing out these particles at us. And these are it's like a stardust kind of particle. And their radiation, it goes through, our atmosphere, and it hits us. Mm-hmm. These solar flares hit us. And a lot of people, this is very important, a lot of people during these solar flares, they fight it a little bit. Because, well, one is they don't know what's happening, but if they do know what's happening, it tends to bring out a lot of negative emotions, and then people fight the negative emotions. I want to bring the different angle to this, okay? This is all this is a magnifying glass, and it helps you. It's like amplifying a healing process if you let it. I take my hat off. I'm bald guy, see? Now, there's something to hair. If you have hair for a reason. You have it for a reason. There's actually, you can go into these, you can go and you can research. Again, I don't want to get in all the rabbit trails with this, but your hair actually is like little, like dogs have whiskers. Your hair really absorbs the sun and it holds it, and it does amazing things. I'm bald, so I don't have that, but still, I want the sun going, absorbing in my head. I actually I make sure, even in the wintertime, especially in the wintertime when we don't have sun for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's negative 25 degrees below. If the sun's out, I'm taking my hands out and I'm putting it up in the sky, because you want the sun to hit your hands. You want your sun to hit your head. You want those eyes. You want your eyes. Now, be careful. Don't be sitting there staring at the sun, but it's okay to look at the sun for a second and close your eyes and look away. And you can literally see the sun still in your eyes for a while, and that does something to your retinas. Yep. You want to absorb this into you guys. You don't want to fight this. You don't want to fight this, because what that particle does is it's lighting up your DNA. Now, I was looking into the DNA. I was wrong. There's only 2% of DNA they say is usable. The other 98% of it is they don't say it's dormant. Now, it did get called at one point junk DNA, and they took it back. They said, well, it's not really junk DNA. It's blah, blah, blah. But there's 98% of it that they don't really understand how it functions.
Yep.
So you have your human DNA, which they understand, and it links to your parents and your grandparents. But then you also have this other part of your DNA where this is where you're linked to the cosmos, you're linked to angels, you're linked to you're linked to you can call them ETs, you can call them celestial beings. They're different, they're not from here, and that DNA also is inside of us. And when the sun is hitting us, it's lighting that up. It's opening those DNAs. And that's why, you're going to go through emotions, and that's why you're going to feel things, because you have to. You have to feel things. That's part of the process of becoming who the starseed you is. It's inside you. It's kind of been missing. You've lived in a society that's kind of like really taught you forever that you're not a starseed, that you're just a regular human being, that you're not special and everyone's the same and blah, 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 blah. No, you're special. You're important. You're different. There's nobody just like you.
Exactly.
And the biggest lie you're ever going to hear in life is that you are just like everybody else. You're just normal. You're just regular.
If we were like everybody else, everything they've fed us through so many science classes growing up, so many medical reviews, everything would be the same. And the truth of the matter is, each individual reacts differently to a nutritional program, a medical program. That's why doctors have to spend so much time when they're sitting down with somebody. They can start by working on through something that worked for somebody else, but then they have to adjust it for who they're working with, because we just do not. It's actually very impressive, and that's what throws them off about DNA so much, because we're supposed to be the same from
Right.
their claims, and or the claims that they've been told to say, and that's just not true.
It's not true.
So
And a lot of people don't realize that with this DNA, there's two. You have your celestial, you have your your heavenly DNA, and then you also have your human DNA. And your human DNA is special too, but it's been damaged, it's been hurt, it's been there's been curses, there's been generational things that's happened. My great grandfather was a racist man. He married a Cherokee woman. She was born on it. My great grandmother was a Cherokee, born on it on the reservation in Oklahoma. I don't know all the details. They hid all these details. Back then, they were literally breeding the red out of people, and they were trying to cover the skin up as fast and quick as they could. And so, all I could hear is the stories. And he literally, she had enough courage to divorce him in the 50s because he was so abusive to her and my grandfather, who you could tell was Native. And he found her in a home, shot her 5 times, bam, 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 went in the street and killed himself. Now, there's a lot of generational curses. They literally buried them together, And started going down there, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. I'm visiting the tombstone in Arkansas, and I could feel the curse on all that. And I never really knew what I was supposed to do with that. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
Right.
You kind of let it go, you pray it, and you just hope it's gone. I didn't know that later on that this was going to help get it out of my body, literally get it out of my being. It was going to clear it out of my DNA. That's a powerful, powerful thing.
Yep. Yeah, we carry that with us. The hardest thing to do when you learn about that stuff, though, is not so much being able to let it go, because the point of it is to resolve it in some way. But it's one of those cases too that, and I think you felt this, is Um, a lot of guilt comes with it. It's that you've got to be able to work through that and convince yourself and realize that what happened was not your fault. That was not you, or at least not you at that time. But it worked its way through because it's passed down. But at the same time, it's a matter of figuring out how it needs to be acknowledged and resolved without you damaging yourself in the process.
Well, that's the beauty of all this, because
Mm-hmm.
I went through years of counseling for that stuff.
Yep.
I had an ex-wife that would throw it at me all the time. She knew the history behind it. I had other family members that they used that, and you would feel it. And I would go to counseling. I started going, I mean, it was always there. There was
Yep.
always that shame there. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember going down one time to Arkansas right by myself and just spending like literally like 4 days down there just by myself trying to make this right. And still is just kind of there, and it would chip
Right.
away. But here's the thing about these solar flares. If you learn the truth, you understand how these things work, and you understand the Schumann resonance, and you start to really start to listen to what this stuff, how this works. Eating fruits. Start eating fruits, especially this time of year. April, May, June. These solar flares, there's something else.
Oh yeah.
And I told this when I started learning about solar flares last year and the Schumann resonance. I started telling people you can accomplish in literally 30 days what it take a decade of healing to do without even working.
Yep.
Without you'll watch, you don't even have to worry about learning how to get rid of guilt, shame, and all that. That stuff starts to fall off. You start to realize that's programmed from the matrix on you. You can't think your way out of it. You
Right.
can't even heal your way out of it. You can't logically, you can't get rid of it because it's become part of our uniform that the matrix thrown on us. The only way to get it off us is to find the truth. It's to develop the truth. Well, guess what? There's truth inside of you and I that's been locked inside of us, and they've lied to us. And when these solar flares hit, people laugh at me because I'm telling it's doing stuff to them. You can either
It is.
ignore it and just let it hit you and go and start kind of going crazy and blame everybody else for it and just think that there's and find a bunch of food and alcohol. Well, alcohol is not really working anymore.
Right.
Maybe you start smoking's not really working anymore, or like eating fast food. Oh, people kind of not get, you know what I mean? Just
Right.
face it. These solar flares are unlocking codes in us. I know your doctor's not going to tell you that.
Oh no. Oh no.
I know you're probably not going to hear that. You'll hear it on some other spiritual sites, and they might go with a whole different weird angle. I'm just telling you, eat a bunch of fruits, get in the sun, watch what happens.
Absolutely.
Do it with intention.
Yep.
Say, hey, God made the sun. You don't have to be weird about it.
No.
You don't have to worship the sun. Oh, I worship. Oh, you don't have to be weird about it. God made the sun. He made the earth. The Bible talks over and over and over again about this flash of light. Why are we scared of it?
Because we're told to be. It's not that we should be. We're told to be. But the beauty of it too is by design, the magnetic field of this planet works with it. Protects us from the worst of it, but it sends what we need through. I mean, it's can be unexplainable on some level, but at the same time, it's one of those things that if we did not have that, we would not be who we are. So,
I just encourage, everybody over the next couple of weeks to get outside. It's been a cold winter up north, and I still went outside, but I know a lot of people haven't,
right.
and they're just kind of getting out. Get outside, get your hands out in the sun, get your head out in the sun, and let your eyeballs touch the sun just a little.
Yep.
Just let it glaze it a little, and let it know that it's there. Acknowledge the sun. A lot of people, they just don't even look up anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and acknowledge that it's there. And literally, without it, we would be dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying you have to worship anything.
No.
It's not what this is about. But for some reason we've been so programmed that the stuff is not real, and the only thing that's real is these little white little capsules, and these little things that the scientists are saying is real, and they call them pills. For some reason, we think that's the only thing that's can really, and I'm not against some of those things. I'm not, I'm not saying something, my mom has insulin. She has diabetes too. I'm glad she has it. She'd be dead.
Yep.
But I'm trying to teach her there's ways to relearn how to live without having so much of it.
Yep.
And we can get in the sun and you can start your research, man. You can get on a thing like this. My whole job is to kind of like, I'm just trying to flip the switch. I want to flip the switch where you go like, you know what? I want to look into that a little bit more. I actually want to research what solar flares is. You might have the temperament or personality a little bit more like Tom. Tom likes to really dig into like a detail, really get to know that detail, and or you might be someone like me. You just kind of want to skim over it, kind of get the general knowledge of it. But whatever it takes, recognize I'm out in the sun. I wanted to do this call. One of the reasons, because I'm literally sitting in the sun looking at it right now, this whole call. And I love it. So you have any closing thoughts, Tom?
I'd say trust your gut, but make sure it's okay to look up in the sky. You might just see Superman.
Right. Look up, eat fruit.
Thank you for joining us for this Eat Fruit Media production. Any donations requested were on the behalf of the speakers and their mission. We appreciate all who have joined us, and we hope you continue to live your life to its fullest purpose.